Thank you very much for joining in. Today it's my privilege to be a part of this discussion. We have an eminent panel. I think across we have more than 75 years of industry experience, excluding me. I have far fewer than them. So to introduce you, at that end, I have Sabu Thomas, who's the Chief People Officer, Head of HR, Allstate India. Thank you, Sabu, for coming in. Then we have Sheena, who's Head of Chief People Officer and Head of HR, VP HR of ABB. And we have Srinath Siddalgatta, who's a Senior Director R&D for Mitel India. So as Namita already introduced, so the panel is about the brand, the employee value proposition. So to start with, I want to ask you guys a simple question in terms of who do you think is the most important? I would like the response by a raise of hands. So how many of you think the customer is the most important for a corporation? Raise of hands, please. Okay, I get about 25-30% of the audience. Thank you so much. So the next, I want to know, how many of you think the shareholders are the most important? I know it was a trick. I didn't give you all the options in the beginning. Okay, so shareholders, how many of you raise hands? Okay, we have about 20%. Okay. I think all of you are being guided by the topic, and you know what the last. Okay, I'll give it out. How many of you think employee comes first? Oh, wow. So I think we are done. I think I'm going to give gifts, and we are done with this. Thank you so much. Great question. Okay, how many of you here in the room are HR practitioners whose daily job is HR? Oh, wow. I think we'll all come and sit along and let's have a discussion there. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we've been thinking about this, and so what we wanted to do today was while I think all of you know the theory behind all of this, the employee value proposition, and each of you have figured out what fits for your organization and for your team that you work with. But then what we also wanted to do today was to understand in terms of what is done, what's the real story, how did they do it, what is the feedback that they got, or what has been their experience from running these organizations. So that is a conversation that I want to take today. So I have a couple of questions that I want to ask the members of the panel today. So while they answer the question, feel free to raise your hands if you have a question, if you have something that you want to share which is correlating to what we are talking about. Okay? Sounds good. So first question, Sheena, I want you to tell us a little more about. While, yes, employee value proposition, we were talking about how it's important to have an inspiration, to create a role model, because an employee needs to know what it is that is being asked for. So can you tell us a little more about how you guys have gone about it?
Sure. So thank you, first of all. So for us, employee value proposition is a set of tasks, opportunities, the behaviors or the cultural experiences that our employees undergo, and brand is basically what we pretty much define is not something that you put forward for in terms of competing with any other organization. In fact, your brand value should be something where you target the audience and they have the only solution is your organization. So with that pretext in mind, what we at ABB have done is that we have a brand promise, which is a vision statement called as Power and Productivity for a Better World. With that thought process, we created a lot of internalized heroes in the organization, where people are able to relate with it, and they also are able to connect with them very easily. So these are some success stories that they talk about in real-time scenarios and share their learning experiences, the challenging opportunities, which is the key differentiator in the organization for them. So these stories were like my stories, and they started with the brand campaign is A Better World Begins With You. And these brand stories have become into into a huge viral in the YouTube as well as internal ABB TV that we have, and where people are able to relate with it, and it goes across from every country, every region, every different language. So we are spread across like 100 plus countries with 125,000 employees. So we cannot create something which people cannot relate with. So these stories were like at the commissioning site or at the workplace, sitting in the desk, and what exactly people do, and they talk about it. That connected a lot with the brand proposition for us.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So we were also talking about the employee value proposition. And so what we were also talking about is how do you bring some of the perspectives of when you run a full-fledged business? You're talking about customer centricity. But then is that applicable to this particular topic? So, I mean, Sabu had some interesting stories to talk about. So.
I mean, I'm just trying to get your question.
In terms of when we are talking about customer centricity, the discussion that we were having in terms of how you went about designing your employee value.
How to get the EVP developed in an organization. Good afternoon. And first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to share my thoughts about EVP. And when I think about how to get EVP right, three things, according to me. The number one is that how the EVP is created. Is it an HR GAN blessed by the management team and just given to the employees? And this is our EVP, take it. Or is it something which is created with the help of employees? And or, the experience of employees, what they experience within the organization. To explain this, I can tell you about how we went about creating an EVP. Allstate is a GIC of Allstate Corporation in the US. We have an EVP statement for the corporation. So we need not have to reinvent the entire thing, but then the attributes of this EVP statement may differ because we are in a totally different culture that's in India. So we were wanting to find out the attributes of the EVP. Our EVP is three things. One is good life, good work, and good hands, good life, and good work. So that's our EVP statement and how to create. First, what we have done is that, with the available data, the employee perception survey, what we have conducted, the Glassdoor statements that are coming in, or what we hear from the left employees, whatever data we had, what we collected, the HR created, and with the help of a few other people, we created an EVP statement. And also created various attributes for this, each one of these parameters. But then what we have done next is that bring in the employees' perspectives. We have done extensive focus groups with employees. Almost every manager in the organization participated in creating or identifying these attributes for the EVP. And we also done a survey after this. These are the attributes we think. Working for the organization, do you agree with this particular thing? We sent a questionnaire to large amount of employees in the organization. So very rigorous, testing process, what we have created, whether that is the right thing, is that what employees are experiencing that we have done. And during the process, we had to change a few of them because what employees experience is different than what we thought that's working. For example, good hands, we thought CSR may be one of the great attribute people may like as employee value proposition. We were doing a lot of CSR activities, so we put that. Then employees, when we had the focus group and all, they came back and told that it's not the CSR. We like this as an ethical organization where employees are treated very fairly and equally. The another thing is that, open culture. Our organization got very good open culture, so we thought that open culture is one of the attributes of the EVP. But employees did not select that as the EVP attributes. They told opportunity to grow. The organization stability as one of the, because a very big organization, we are just coming to India and we are growing rapidly, so the stability was one of the important attributes they found. The other one was that we just designed and launched a rewards and recognition program. So we thought that rewards and recognition, many items of rewards. And we thought that is one of the attributes which we wanted to put. But employees came back and told, no, that's not what the growth and learning opportunities, what we are seeing here, what we experience here is the. So what I'm trying to say is that, when we got all the employees involved in creating the EVP statement, the things changed. And when we create those or adopt those attributes as part of the EVP program, that will be more experiential for the employees. That's one aspect, involvement of employees in creating this. The second aspect is that, yesterday I was here for the, award ceremony, and so many of the people who received awards saying that, how to manage Generation Y and, what they are looking for. They are not looking for any of the frills. So how the EVP statement is made, are we giving it to the external agency and create a beautiful statement with all the GANs or good English in it? So they want very, very simple and tangible statement that to be made, a simple format. And we should be knowing what we are promising. That's very important. And we should promise only what we can deliver. That's very important. So that's the second aspect when we are creating an EVP, which will be working. The third aspect, how we are going to communicate. There are different generations in the organization. The communication program should suit all the people. So we used normal, conventional email method, so that there are some people who will read email even now. So they will read them and understand. Also, we have engaged many other things. We had floor activities. We have selfie taking, employees taking selfie with the EVP statements. Quiz programs. We are creating a big picture creating the EVP statement in the organization. So it has created a lot of fun element in communicating EVP to all the people in the organization. There are many other things which we have done in terms of creating this EVP. And that's how I think we have created a right EVP. We think that it's a right EVP because it's recently created, and we need to measure and see that in future, whether it's working or not.
Excellent. Excellent. So you're saying that it's a very deliberate strategic exercise rather than a desk exercise in drawing out the EVP. Absolutely. Excellent. So you touched upon one very important point. Srinath, I'll come to you for that particular point. In terms of, you're talking about dealing with different types of employees, different generations of employees, different functions. Now, Srinath, I want you to tell us a little more about how the EVP changes across industries or changes across different functions or different people. So, how do you go about it?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me on this panel. We have 50 years of HR experience sitting to my left and a smart consultant to my right. And I'm sandwiched in between them as a R&D head. So I have to be careful of what I talk. Should I wear the people hat or should I wear the business hat? But anyways, I will be who I am, because I think employees, first of all, expect, frank talks. And
the audience has already told you 50% above is
HR, right? So I need to be careful, because in Mitel India, we're now growing a team, and I want to make sure that we communicate the right message here in a forum like this. So to answer your question, I myself have worked across various industries, and as they say in the HR world, that different strokes for different folks. So if you go to a manufacturing industry, maybe it's all changing now. When I started my career 25 years ago, we had blue-collared workers in the factory. In the same building, we were all white-collared engineers in the office space. So if you go to the factory and you make a statement, there can be a strike. You come to the office and make the same statement, people will say, fantastic. So it depends on how you treat employees depending on what background they come with. So an industry which has, let's say, a segment of the industry which has manufacturing as well as engineering, you have to be very guarded in how you communicate, because people perceive and receive information in different forms. Then I moved into the technology sector, where everybody was very smart, tech savvy, and there all you had to do is you raise your eyebrow and they know what you mean. So you don't even have to go to the rooftop and shout. So that's another paradigm. So across industries, we were also discussing some time ago, in the Toyota factory, a worker can stop the production line if he finds there's a quality issue. I said in the software industry, the test manager cannot stop the software from release, because he can say these bugs can be deferred, these have been given concessions, and by the way, if the software is 80% okay, we can always provide a patch if it is a set-top box over the air, and if it is another technology, then you can provide upgrade, and all of this works. Whereas in a car, you cannot have an online upgrade when you're driving the car for an ECM module, then God bless you, right? So I think things have changed. At the same time, people that worked in Indian telephone industries started to work for Motorola. It must have been a big change for them, working for a public sector telephone company to Motorola, where you breathe, sleep Motorola every day. Whereas in the Indian telephone industries, I do remember many years ago, they used to make even the screws and the plastic injection molding for the phones that Bangalore Telephones was delivering to the people's homes. Now, I don't know how many of you have landlines at home today. Nobody is even applying for landlines these days. So the whole world is moved to a totally different space where technology is being easily, accepted, and even people who don't know how to use technology like an iPad, through gestures and through Siri and other things, you're able to get information quickly. So I think with the transition happening in the industry, people from manufacturing sector have become subject matter experts in consulting firms providing consulting services. People in technology sectors have gone back to manufacturing to bring in the best practices. So people are moving all around. People continue to remain as people. And I think with the emergence of technology in every walk of life, with apps being used across different domains and different technology areas, I think there is hardly any boundary today. Earlier, there was a boundary, now it's boundaryless.
I'll tee off from the technology point that you mentioned. So we were also talking about what is the role of technology in employee value proposition. So we were thinking of multiple things, and finally we zeroed in about two things. One, we believe technology, one, is a core, second is a medium. Sheena, do you want to talk a little bit more about how it's relevant in your organization?
So ABB is a technology company, right? And so technology is our DNA in the ABB itself. So the people there are all technocrats. They breathe technology day in and day out. So that's how the technology is an integral part of the organization. And how we use technology as a medium itself is what I mentioned earlier. We spread across close to 100 plus countries with 125,000 people. So we use multiple channels in terms of technology and catering to various segments. So be it a Gen X who would like to get some different kind of information, to a Gen Y who would like to have at the touch point. So we use multiple channels of social media like Yammer, where as well as the SharePoints, which is there for creating and sharing enough information to reduce the hierarchies in the organization. At the same time, leveraging a lot of past experiences from a technology standpoint of view. Besides that, we have an ABB TV, which actually continuously broadcasts about the various informations and organization changes. And currently in ABB, we are undergoing a huge transformation as part of our strategy 2020. So with that, we want to have everyone being aligned to it. So we have ABB value systems, and people start living those values. So it becomes like, so communication is never enough. And we use multiple channels, so be it like there will be small informal groups where people can even create WhatsApp groups. So we use even that for certain smaller teams as well. Other than that, we have our own YouTube channels as well. So we create videos enough for people to kind of engage both externally as well as internally. So typically from a recent experience, I can share that we go to campuses and we do a lot of engagements in campus. So what excites people there in the campus is the latest technology, what's happening in the latest front. So we had YouTube videos along with our new dual arm collaboration, a small robot called as Yumi. And this Yumi robot's videos were kind of released like a viral, and this Yumi robot was kind of then customized to create, to click selfies. So that created, so people see the videos, they love the YouTube videos, they come back and they kind of engage with it. And people feel pride in terms of showcasing to their family and their friends that, this is the company I work for, and this is what we actually, spend time, maybe it's like 9 hours or 12 hours, we spend time in doing these kind of things. Other than that, what we also do is we extensively kind of work on a lot of mobile apps as well, where we can use a technology in terms of giving internal customer delight. And for us, technology is used as a differentiator. So how we differentiate ourselves in terms of our value proposition, both internally as well as externally. So from internal standpoint of view, since most of us, understand the kind of, follow-ups that is needed in terms of getting things done from some of the functions point of view, be it a supply chain or a finance or an IT or even an HR for that matter. So how do we leverage technology in these kind of, 4 pillars of the support functions, which can really help to give a wow factor to our employees, who then become the brand ambassadors to our customers. So there we have kind of come up with a complete shared service concept where it is more ticketing based, more online based, and more with an SLA base, so that people know what they're expecting, and the expectations are managed far more easier in terms of giving them the wow factor. So technology is cutting across the entire organization in every phase that we live in.
Yes, every phase, yeah. So, I mean, she was just mentioning earlier in terms of how it's been imperative for ABB to give a brand, portray a brand which is technology driven, and especially when you're on campuses, when you're hiring, it's so important for the prospective candidates to feel excited about your brand, and they're using technology both as a core, which is saying, okay, this is what you're going to be doing, plus using best of today's technology to reach out to the prospective candidates, and I found that extremely promising. But then,
so can I add into it?
Sure,
Yeah. So when you talked about prospective candidates, what we do extensively is an e-campus, and when I say e-campus, we kind of connect with kind of 35 to 40 colleges, across India, and we do an e-campus with a pre-placement talk through a video conferencing, cutting across all the campuses at one shot. So entire leadership addresses all the students, which would be close to 1,500 or 2,000 students who are keen to be part of ABB, seeing those pre-placement talks via eCampus. So that's where the technology, gets into far more into the DNA part itself. It starts from that first touch itself and then goes on further as they evolve with the company.
Sure, thank you so much. You did talk about employee experience. Now, Sabu, I want to ask you in terms of when you talk about employee experience, how do you make sure that the employee experience reaches the employee on an everyday basis, on their everyday lives? I mean, how do you positively impact employee experience and translate that employee value proposition to the employee on a daily basis?
Absolutely. And as I told you that this journey we started, our organization itself is 3.5 years old in India. And this journey we may started 1.5 years back. But I'll be able to tell you some of the examples or some of the areas where we feel that it's reached to the employees and we are already started seeing the result. As I told you that the kind of attributes we developed for the EVP statement, and we started focusing on them and started implementing. And few of it, if you say that growth opportunity or learning opportunity, what we had. So we have a focused learning and development division, and which has launched various levels of program, technology programs, programs related to technology and behavioral programs. More than that, we started looking at individuals and their own individual development. So all the employees in the organization gone through an IDD program, individual development plan. And we have launched Hyper program. We invested last 1.5 years extensively on the leadership development program, 360-based leadership development programs, all those kinds of things. And as people pick up capability and competencies, our managers focused on getting the appropriate job content or quality of work for them to get it. So that's one part of it. The other thing, if you look at good work, good life kind of areas, we have launched part-time policies, work from home policy, and we have good benefits, medical benefits. We have launched. You must have seen our Allstate vehicles, Wi-Fi enabled AC vehicles, Allstate branded vehicles. We have given Wi-Fi and told employees you are not expected to work in the bus, but you can browse and you can do recreation while commuting this 1.5 hours every day. So a lot of things which we have implemented on the basis of this EVP created. That results, that produce certain results. We have seen we are expecting our next, employee perception survey result to be better. Another thing what we have seen is that the recent Aon Hewitt Best Employer Survey, we did not get through the first 20, but then when we analyzed what we have told to them and what they collected from employees, it matched pretty well. So what we are proposing and what employees are experiencing, we found that it's going pretty well. So a good experience, good feedback from employees. And we have seen the candidate conversion is really going up. We had a lot of problem in terms of hiring people initially. 50% conversion. They are expecting very high amount of salaries because they do not know the organization, what this organization is offering to, offering to them. But then now we have seen that the conversion is, rate is gone beyond 80%. Another example, I'll tell you that, when we started the BPO function in Pune, there also we had trouble in hiring people initially. But last 6 months data, if I can tell you, last 6 months, almost 6,000 people walked into the office for job. And we have met all our, job requirements from these walk-ins, quality resources. And we have crossed 1,000, people in Pune now in the BPO area in 1.5 years' time. So I wanted to definitely, believe that the amount of work we have done in terms of creating this employee value proposition through the people and implementing by the people, by the employees, and communicating, across outside and inside is helped in terms of achieving these results. Employee referral, which was 4% when we have looked at in the beginning of the year, and now it is close to 30%. So people have got more faith in the organization. They believe that this is a good place to be in, so they started calling their friends to join the organization. Those are some of the results which I see that really,
So you're talking about having a design, a communication plan, and a delivery plan, and all aligned to each other. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So one of the things that we also wanted to hear, and Srinath, I would want you to take this in terms of where do things go wrong? When is the employee disappointed? I mean, what happens where? I mean, what are the background or what are the initial things that happen when the final result is that the employee is not happy about it? Where does it not get delivered?
I think everything boils down to the culture of the organization. The culture is nothing but what does the head of the company say when he stands up and talks to the employees? What does the manager tell the employees when he addresses them in a team meeting? So I think everything is about being honest and having the ability to say things as is. Of course, there needs to be some amount of diplomacy in case you're going through a business transformation or there's a change management. You need to handle change with care. I think a number of things lead to failures of, let's say, employee reaching a state where they may be dissatisfied. The first thing is the industry is evolving at a fast pace. Organizations are changing by the minute. Mergers and acquisitions are the norms of the day. And when all of these things happen simultaneously in an organization, as I think you mentioned a while ago, communication can break down. I think it's very key for employees to be informed about the changes that are coming. At the same time, you also need to be honest with them about why those changes are being made, because people are very smart today. They have access to public domain information. They have access to people in the industry who can tell them, if you tell we are doing this for synergy reasons, they know exactly if it is for synergy or not. So I think first and foremost, employees feel dissatisfied when you don't involve them in the process when you're making a change. That is for existing employees. When you're bringing in new employees and you're trying to attract talent, I think there again, word of mouth is very powerful. In Mitel India, when we are now ramping up the team, people are asking, Mitel who? Who are you? But then you have the first set of people that you bring in who kind of become your brand ambassadors. They are then able to tell people, you know what, I work for a unified business communications company. We collaborate, 2 billion people are connected in the world using our solutions. That is the power of communication. So everything boils down to communication when things can break down. I had an example where I worked before, without naming the company. Again, no disrespect to anybody. I have been heading a company before, so I know there can be some hard feelings here. If a salesperson is the CEO of a company, everything is driven by sales numbers. If a CFO instantly becomes the CEO of the company, everything is numbers driven. You're walking in the corridor, he's looking at your forehead, are you billable or not, right? If a HR person becomes the CEO of a company, like Mohandas Pai became the CEO of Infosys when he got through the job rotation, it's all people-centric. So the culture of the company is determined by who is driving the company in the driver's seat and what kind of culture you want to bring into the company. So it's very important that when you say customers come first or employees come first, communication is key. At the same time, if your organization is going through change, make sure people are made aware of the changes you're making in a respectful way, because some teams can go down, some teams can be growing. A lot of things happen simultaneously in a company. Alongside that, when you bring in new people, organizations are also looking at how to leverage from cost plus competence. Gone are the days when everything was cost arbitrage. Now you also, cost is taken for granted in India. It costs X K dollars per person month or person year is a given now. So what are the other things? Competence. Are we able to move the value chain? Are people able to step up? Are we able to have people playing global roles? So I think creating the right opportunity, making sure there is no glass ceiling for people to grow, at the same time having an experience pyramid where people have the breathing room to take on adjacent roles or having the opportunity to work in an area where they haven't even worked before, I think can make a big difference. So I think failure is not a single point. It again has different touch points depending on who is leading that process.
So while the leader definitely plays a strong influence, I think what I heard you say is there's also a need for balance between all of those priorities to make sure that, and the communication of that balance to the employees.
I just want to add one example here. I was talking to a set of new joinees in my company last month, and I did recognize a few people. And there was a lady, and I know she has a 3-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old daughter. There's another person, 3 years experience, very dynamic young engineer. Another person, 15 years experience in industry. Another person, 78 years experience. I asked them, what prompted you to join Mitel? So what was that changed your mind? Why did you change your job and come here? It was all lateral hires. The lady with the 2 kids said, for me, work-life balance is very important. When I talked to a few folks, they said in your company there's work-from-home policy, and there is an opportunity where, the management is tolerant if there are some things which come in the ways of the employees, then you're not hard on them. Okay, so that was the perspective of the lady. The young engineer said, you're into unified business communication, you're talking about voice over Wi-Fi, voice over LTE. This is fantastic. I want to be in the 5G technology area, which Mitel is investing in, so I am here for that. The 15-year experienced person said, I heard in this company, things are generally at a cool pace. There is no punishment for failure. Of course, at the same time, you are expected to deliver results, and then there is allowance for making mistakes. So I want a life where I have stability in my job. Not job security, but let's say stability. The 70-year experienced person said, I have been in the industry for 6 to 7 years. You are working on cutting-edge technology. I want to be a part of this journey where I can say that when Mitel introduced the next collaboration tool on the Android application or the iOS, I was involved in that. So you can see in the same room, everybody joined Mitel for a different reason, and they all believe they're going to get that experience. So employee value proposition is different for different people. How do you make sure that all of that gets addressed? A person who's born in the 60s, a person who's born in the 2000, they all have different expectations. They're all part of the same company. So I think the answer lies there in how we are able to handle a diverse employee base and making sure each of them get what they want. Somebody wants to read a newspaper, you provide a newspaper. Somebody wants a Kindle, provide a Kindle.
So maybe I can just add on to it. So we had recently launched our value pairs, which were like we're continuously kind of transforming ourselves with the latest trends as well, and ensuring that most of our value systems are engaging enough with all the strategy of the business as well. So these value pairs, what we recently did, there was a big leadership forum in the similar venue here itself. And what is important to all of us is your own name. That is the most important thing that people carry, and that's their identity. And what we did was we gave all people the name tabs, and just behind the name tab when you turn are the value pairs. And these value pairs are simple, like collaboration and trust, innovation and speed, and they all start with a statement called as I. So it becomes like, okay, Sheena, Minhas, and the value pairs for Sheena is collaboration and trust, and that's how people start relating with it, and they start walking the talk. And the say-do ratio in an organization in terms of what is written on the wall versus what people do, that becomes very close to reality. So that's how we kind of bridge those gaps in terms of the value propositions itself.
Thank you so much. I think we have the last few minutes. I want to take some questions from the audience as well. So anybody has questions, please do a raise of hands. I think there's a gentleman there in the back who wants to ask a question.
Thank you. Is the mic on? Thank you. So thanks for the insights. My question is for the panelists. I'm Yogendra from Zinnov Consulting. So I think, while selfies and everything is a great way for the youngsters, what value prop are you offering, let's say in your companies to, let's say, the experienced people who have more than 5 years experience, guys who have been there, done that, they're beyond the, regular fun and frolic, but they, would like to get more customer access. They would like to get more access to business. They want to have, a lot of more work on new technologies. And especially in Indian GICs, we have seen, and I have worked with GICs in the past many years. I have seen, now I think the days are gone, when people are sitting for 10 years, and they're happy just doing what they want to do. People have become very demanding now. So what value prop would you be offering to these sort of people in the coming, let's say, months or years?
So I can take that.
Sure, please.
So basically, from the value system that when you offer to a seasoned guy is largely on technology and challenges, which is the key differentiator. At the same time, it's also the individual learning growth that we offer. So typically, from our organization, the major factor for us is internal mobility. Wherever the positions are open, it is first focused on internal pool of candidates, which is open for minimum 2 weeks for people to first apply for it. And if we don't get applications internally, then we said, okay, now we can go ahead outside and release it. Now that kind of a thing, really helps people to start seeing beyond their scope of work. At the same time, when we do these success stories and showcase what people started as a management trainee versus now they are a business head, in a span of a couple of years, and at the same time they are now interacting with customers. So typically in my organization here, we have like 28 global role holders, and they are leading the global positions worldwide in terms of being really involved in those strategic roles, and they have evolved from the below itself. So when people see these role models sitting next to them, and then we see technology, innovation, and it is performance, which is more important, people start living the dream in terms of, yes, this organization is going to really take care of me from my career opportunities. And that's the brand value that we talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's same thing for us also. In fact, the global exposure and be part of the global teams. And be part of decision makers in terms of a technology solution for a business problem. That's the kind of opportunity which they are looking for. That's the kind of opportunity we are trying to provide to the employees. And we are also creating global managers. And as I told you, it's a young organization. We do not have a large number of people, but then still we have started creating global managers from India. The other important thing is that, how much opportunity they will get to experience the business part of it. We are also focusing on travel, where people go and spend time with the business, where the business is happening. The L1 programs, long-term kind of assignments with the people so that they'll be able to see the real business problems and, suggest solutions for that. I think the above 5 years or 5 to 10 years of experience level, that's the age group which is looking for really contributing to provide solutions to the business, and we should be able to provide that kind of opportunities.
Sure. Thank you, Sabu. Thank you. Well, any one last question? Yes, please.
No problem.
Hi, this is Uma Shankar. I am from Aris India Private Limited. My question is, what is the role of employee brand proposition in difficult times? Does it help in retaining the talent?
Good question. Srinath.
Can you just restate that so that we understand?
Yeah. So, what is the role of employee brand proposition in difficult times? Does it help in retaining the talent?
Right. Let me see if I can answer this from my own real life experience. Organizations start building new groups where there's a lot of effort that's put in attracting new talent, and you promise them, this is the journey we're going through, this is the 3-year plan, this is the product roadmap, and this is the journey you're going to experience, cutting edge technology and all those things. But business is business. There are always going to be situations in the market where there's no demand for a product, or your window of opportunity in the market is lost. Then some groups end up winding up. So you have one group which is growing, alongside you have another group which is winding up. I think the key message here is, how do you make sure that you have a flexible workforce where you're able to repurpose people quickly and give them an opportunity to take on adjacent roles, whereby you're able to at least accommodate the people that you think deserve to be given another opportunity. But having said that, in difficult times, the one thing you need to take care of is, again, communication, back to what I said before, because even in our lives, I have a happy situation on a Monday morning at home. On a Tuesday, I have a sad situation. Doesn't mean I'm going to leave my house and run away. My daughter may be nice to me, smiling today morning. Tomorrow she doesn't get what she wants, she will stop talking to me. Doesn't mean I'm not a father anymore. Likewise, employee-employer, it's a love-hate relationship which goes along. When everything is going well, you get a big bonus, you go home happy, you don't complain. When the business is not doing well, you don't get a hike, you're angry with the employer, but in difficult times, how you communicate is very important. How do you make sure that the family that eats together stays together, they say. Likewise, in the organization, how do you make sure in difficult times, you're along the people that are going through the hardship? And the last you can do is the human touch. End of the day, we're all human beings, right? So in good times, even if you don't pat a person on the back, you give him a big bonus, he will say thank you and move on. In difficult times is, I think, when you need to stay closer to the employees, help them understand what the organization is going through. Good times and bad times always happen. In the worst case, I've even seen organizations from the HR perspective bringing in job consultants to help them find jobs, provide them a garden leave of 3 months, or give them a 6 months window of time where their salary doesn't stop. And that is where I think the leadership plays a key role. I have been through a situation where we had to let go people in a company where 3 years before that we were attracting talent. There you need to negotiate with your whatever top management, whoever it is, and tell them when you want good people to enter through the door, and when you have a situation where you have to let them go through the door, make sure the experience is equally pleasant. Make sure they have some support system to take care of them, and it will work. I think that is where a leader's responsibility lies. In good times, you won't have to go to the rooftop and shout. In bad times, I think you need to be on the rooftop every day.
Thank you.
I have gone through a similar experience. In fact, I think the employee value proposition is more relevant when bad times. I've gone through in one of the organizations where we had to let go 50% of the people, and all of us had to take 30 to 50% of salary cut. So what is worked well there, some of the thing which Srinath has mentioned, is that transparency in communication, what is going on. The other thing what we are told is that if we can survive and we can bounce back, what is in it for you? That kind of communication. So you are there with you. The organization is there with you. The second thing, certainly that's what we have done, is that the 50% of the people who had to go, we proved that we are with you. That means we got people, external consultant. In fact, we used the same recruitment team to outplace these people to other organization. Let me tell you that 95% of the people we have placed got them job and sent them out from the organization. So I think employee value proposition is very much relevant when organization is going through tough times.
Sure. Thank you, Sabu. Thank you so much. I think we'll have to wind up, right?
You all can connect offline. Maybe.
Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you so much, panel. Excellent interaction. So.